In this video, we're going to take a look at working with audio clips. So as you can see here in my session view window, I have an audio clip. And you can tell it's audio because it has waves. It is not squares or rectangles that have note names in them. It's just audio waves. If I play this, it is a tambourine loop. You can hear that. And it's going to loop forever because I have this loop button on. I can turn that off if I want to. If I'd like to choose a different section of this clip to loop, if I don't want to loop the entire thing, I can just drag and then hit Command L, or I could right click and choose loop or deactivate loop in this case since I've already activated it. And it will loop just that part. And I can move this loop in real time. There's a lot of great sound design possibilities in this editor. So I'm going to go ahead and expand that out to its full loop again. And I'm doing that, by the way, by dragging this loop brace at the top here. And now it's back to its full 2-bar loop. Other things I can do here, I can change the gain of the audio. I can make it louder or softer. And I can actually change the pitch right here. I can transpose this very easily. So that's kind of fun. If I ever want to move back to the default value in Ableton, I can just double click on that control and it takes it to the default value. There are some additional functional tools over here that we're going to go over in a later video, like the warping algorithms and things. But for now, we're just going to stick to the basics. Now, you might notice these triangles above the waves, and those are where Ableton Live detects transients or the onset of a note. So I'm going to double click a couple of these, and you'll notice that these yellow markers appear. These are warp markers. And what I can do with these is use them to drag the audio around. So we can have all kinds of fun messing with the rhythm of the samples this way. Listen to this. This is going to sound weird. Beyond just being kind of weirdly creative, you can actually tighten up a rhythm. If you notice, this tambourine has a distinct groove to it. And that is because the transients are not lined up with the grid. Now that's really on purpose, but if I wanted to make it more metronomic, I could do that. And this is a much subtler way to use the warp markers, but I'd say this is probably the most common way to do it. It's kind of like auto-tune for rhythm. You know, we're just making it sort of grid perfect here. You don't want to overdo it because it'll actually sound worse. And it might already sound worse. We won't know for sure until we play it. But I can just, you know, sort of nip up these large transients and make sure they're on grid. And now it'll be a lot more metronomic. And it did sort of lose the flavor of the original groove, but it's possible. Just like in the MIDI editor, this grid also comes in fixed or adaptive varieties here. And so there's really no difference from the MIDI editor for that. One thing that people always seem to want to be able to do, including myself, is edit the audio. Now there are certain limitations to this audio editor in Ableton Live. And to be perfectly honest, if I have to do any kind of advanced audio editing, I just take my audio into Pro Tools and edit it and then fly it back into Ableton Live. It's a very common workflow across the industry is to use multiple DAWs because, you know, each program has its strengths and weaknesses. And so you cannot, for instance, separate this clip into multiple clips like you could on, say, a timeline. Now we can do that in arrangement view, but we can't do it here in this clip detail view. What we can do is we can isolate a part of this by, again, pressing Command L and just looping part of it, right? Or I could even right click on here and choose Crop Sample to Time Selection. So if I do that, now I can only see the only thing that's left in that clip is what I selected, and it's going to sound kind of odd. All right, I'm going to press Command Z to undo that. So you can crop and you can loop. That's pretty much what you can do in this audio editor. If you want to cut this up into multiple clips, you have to do that in the arrangement view window. So let me show that to you. Here I can, chop this up and use Command E to separate it into multiple clips. That's like not a problem. And then when I click on a clip, it's really only going to show me that portion of the clip. Okay, so you can do things like that, but again, the workflow is just slightly different in Ableton Live, but you cannot edit directly in this bottom editor, and that's important to know.